Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion. What up, party people? And don't watch the newest episode of Bluey until you are ready to get just Tyrannosaurus wrecked. Let's take a look at a video.
Hey guys, we could do a comparison. I showed you guys the difference in John 14:2 already. Now I'm going to show you the difference in Ephesians 6:12 with the Geneva Bible and the King James Bible.
All right, let's see it.
Ephesians 6:12 says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." So you see in the King James Bible, it says, "against the rulers of the darkness of this world." That's the King James. Now we're going to open the Geneva. Ephesians 6:12, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, and against the worldly governors, the princes of the darkness of this world." So it's calling the worldly governors the princes of the darkness of this world. Now what's the difference? The Geneva Bible is calling the worldly governors wicked. And in the King James Bible, it went around that. And that's because King James was a part of the worldly governor.
So this is not why these two translations differ. This creator's edition of the Geneva Bible is misleading, and King James was absolutely not one of the worldly governors mentioned in this passage. To begin, that phrase worldly governors is rendering into English a single Greek word, kosmokrator, which would literally be cosmic ruler. Kosmos and krator. And kosmos is one of the words that is used to mean world in the New Testament. But kosmos can also refer to the heavens and the earth, the entire universe. And that's why we get our modern notion of the cosmos. The other word is aeon, which can refer to a time period, an era, or the social world. And both of these words actually occur in this clause, in the Greek source text that the translators of the Geneva Bible and the King James Version used. And so in order to avoid this kind of awkward use of world twice in a single clause, the translators of the Geneva Bible actually separate it into two clauses. But then they have to add stuff in order to make sense of the second clause. So what we should have here is the worldly governors of the darkness of this world. But that didn't work for the translators of the Geneva Bible, so they split it off, and they have the worldly governors, the princes of the darkness of this world. But the word the princes doesn't occur in the Greek. They made that up. But this edition of the Geneva Bible that this creator has does not include the italics that they used in the original edition. The princes are in italics to indicate this is not in the source text. We added it to the text. And so we have the worldly governors, the princes of the darkness of this world, which originally would have been the worldly governors of the darkness of this world. And then how do we know that this is not a reference to human rulers, but to cosmic rulers, to spiritual powers? There are several reasons. To begin, this idea of principalities and powers is repeated a handful of times in the New Testament, particularly in the Pauline epistles, and even elsewhere in Ephesians. And it's always a reference to spiritual powers, not human powers. And the final clause punctuates that, because the final clause is repeating what was just said, but in different words. It's appositional, and it refers to the spiritual powers of evil in heavenly places. Now, the Geneva Bible renders something like high places, and this makes it sound more like human rulers. But the Greek word is epuranios, which is the combination of the preposition epi, which means on or in, and the word uranos, which means heaven. So epuranios means in the heavens or heavenly. And so this is referring to cosmic forces of darkness, the spiritual powers of evil in heavenly places. And that second occurrence of world is actually not supposed to be there. It was added later, which is why in critical editions of the Bible today, you don't have that second occurrence of world. So the King James Version is actually an improvement on what was going on in the Geneva Bible. The Geneva Bible was trying to make better sense of this passage, but to do so, they actually split up a single clause into two and then had to add stuff to have it make sense. So the translation here in the Geneva Bible is misleading and easily misunderstood. The translation in the King James Version is better and more accurate, and it has absolutely nothing to do with King James, and it was not changed because of King James.
Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with reading the King James Bible. I even read the NKJV. However, I am saying we need to start going to the origin of things, start diving deep into the actual interpretation of Scripture. This is why I even dive into the Hebrew and the Greek of the Bible, because many words go deeper, way deeper than what they say in English.
This creator very clearly did not dive into the Greek of this passage. If they had, they would not have so flagrantly misunderstood it.